If you've been scrolling through endless lists of firewalls, reading the same vague spec sheets, and still feel stuck wondering whether the next box you order will actually protect your office without turning networking into a daily headache, you're not alone. That hesitation wondering if you're paying for a fancy logo instead of real security, or if you'll end up wrestling with a clunky interface after the warranty expires can make any purchase feel risky. That's why I'm breaking down the Meraki MX68 5-year enterprise licensed network security firewall bundle in plain English, so you can see exactly where it shines, where it trips, and whether it's the sensible choice for your business. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest thing that separates this bundle from a generic off-the-shelf firewall is the cloud-managed model that Cisco's Meraki line is built around. Instead of installing a separate controller in a rack, you get a single portal you can log into from any browser, and the device talks to that portal for configuration, updates, and reporting. For a small office that doesn't have a dedicated network engineer, that means you're not spending hours digging through command line menus or hunting for firmware patches. The portal does the heavy lifting, pushing out policies automatically and giving you a clean, visual map of which devices are on the network, what traffic is flowing, and where potential threats are being blocked. That ease of management translates directly into value for money, especially when you factor in the 5-year enterprise license that comes with this bundle. Most firewall vendors charge separately for the software that powers features like intrusion detection, content filtering, and site-to-site VPN. Those licenses can add up quickly, sometimes $100 a month for a handful of users. With Meraki, the license is bundled for the whole term, so you get the security stack, the cloud management, and the support contract in one upfront payment. If you're budgeting for a 3-year plan, you're essentially paying for the same service over a longer horizon, which smooths out cash flow and eliminates surprise renewals. Who should consider buying the MX68? Picture a boutique marketing agency with 3,040 employees, a handful of conference rooms, and a need to let remote freelancers connect via VPN without exposing the internal network to risk. The MX68 supports multiple WAN interfaces, so you can have a primary fiber line and a backup LTE connection, and it will automatically shift traffic if one fails. That kind of resilience is a lifesaver for a team that can't afford to lose an hour of client work because the internet dropped. It also works well for a small retail chain that wants a unified security policy across several storefronts, because the cloud dashboard lets you push the same rules to each location with a few clicks. On the flip side, if you're a solo entrepreneur running a home office with just a couple of laptops, you might be overpaying for the enterprise license and the hardware capacity. The MX68 is designed to handle up to a few hundred concurrent connections, which is overkill for a one-person setup. In that scenario, a consumer-grade router with built-in firewall rules would probably meet your needs at a fraction of the cost. Similarly, large enterprises with complex, multi-data center architectures will likely need a higher-end Meraki model or a more customizable on-prem controller, because the MX68's throughput limits and feature set are calibrated for the SMB market. Now let's talk about the practical strengths you'll notice once the box is out of the shipping crate. The first thing most users comment on is the set-and-forget nature of the initial deployment. You connect the power, plug your internet line into the WAN port, and the device reaches out to the Meraki cloud automatically. The dashboard walks you through a quick wizard, naming the site, assigning VLANs, and turning on basic security policies. Within minutes you have a working firewall, and the portal immediately starts logging traffic, giving you insight you'd normally need a separate monitoring system to see. Because the MX68 is cloud-managed, firmware updates happen silently in the background. That eliminates the dreaded "my firewall stopped working after I manually upgraded" scenario that haunts many IT admins. The updates are staged, so you can schedule a maintenance window if you want to be extra cautious, but most small businesses never need to think about it. The device also includes built-in content filtering, which can block categories like gambling or adult sites across the whole office without requiring a separate web gateway appliance. That's a practical win for HR departments that need to enforce acceptable use policies without policing every user's browser history. A hidden trade-off, however, is the reliance on an always online connection to the Meraki cloud. If your internet goes down completely, the firewall continues to forward traffic based on the last known configuration, but you lose the ability to make changes or view real-time logs until connectivity returns. In a scenario where the WAN outage lasts several hours, you might find yourself unable to adjust QoS settings for a critical video conference. For most small offices that have at least one backup ISP, this isn't a showstopper, but